Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. This is Season 3, Episode number 15 of Empire State Hoops. We are on the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. The NBA playoffs are right around the corner. Welcome to April. It is a great time to be alive. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias, joining us as per usual every single week. And today's episode of Empire State Hoops is powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, got a lot to cover today. The New York Knicks are on the home stretch, and potentially, we just heard yesterday, they could possibly be getting Jalen Brunson back in one of the games that we're going to talk about later in the episode. So that is a good sign of things to come with 6 games left in the season.
Very good sign. I mean, I should have worn my Jalen Brunson jersey for this occasion. I'm wearing Julius Randle right now out of all people, but I do like this jersey, so shout out to Julius Randle. But getting the captain back, I'm not sure how I feel too much about it yet. I want to make sure that he's at least 100% healthy and not like 80% when he comes back, because we do need him for the playoffs. So, but it's a great thing to have him back and have him be able to participate again with the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one big thing with him, of course, I would say Tom Thibodeau has to limit him in minutes. You can't play him 35 minutes these last 6 games. That's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, that's probably the dumbest thing you could do if you're Tom Thibodeau. And yes, you're as a Tom Thibodeau. As you being head coach, Tom Thibodeau, you're going to play your starters those minutes, but you have to just know that, okay, we're at the end of the season. We're not really fighting for anything. We don't need Brunson playing out there 30 minutes a game. Give him at least 20 minutes, and then he'll be fine. So that's what I do agree with you on that.
And we'll definitely touch on more of that as well as we'll get to when the Knicks play the Phoenix Suns on Sunday. But let's talk about a couple of the games we saw this past week. Of course, the Knicks beat the Milwaukee Bucks 116-107 back on March the 28th. OG Anunoby had a spectacular game, 31 points in this one, 20 of his 31 in the fourth quarter. And I think really the big surprise in this game, DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
The dude was averaging like 2 points per game with the Bucks, goes to the Knicks. Now he's averaging like 10 a game, filling in for Jalen Brunson, and it really surprised me.
I honestly completely forgot that we got him from the Bucks, so that's another big part. But yeah, this was DeLon Wright's first true minutes as a New York Knick, I would say. He always got those little bench minutes. But with no Cameron Payne, no Deuce McBride, and obviously no Jalen Brunson, we needed somebody to step up. And I like the move to not start Tyler Kolek in front of him because DeLon Wright, the more experienced guard, just keep Tyler Kolek on the bench. But he did serviceable work for the Knicks in this game, 12, 3, and 4. And I believe it was like around 30 minutes he played. So obviously very good stuff. But then, OG Anunoby, he's been the MVP since Jalen Brunson has been out, absolutely taken over. There's some stats I want to read off, I believe, in this next game about OG Anunoby play without Jalen Brunson. But again, OG Anunoby has been carrying this Knicks team throughout this stretch.
And that's been the big thing, of course, especially against a Bucks team without Damian Lillard. Giannis was the only thing the Knicks knew they had to stop. They did exactly that. They kind of limited him in some of the things he's been capable of, and that's how they were able to prevail in that game. Also, Josh Hart with a double-double in this game, 13 points, 14 rebounds. Mikal Bridges also with 26 as well. So you had spectacular performances from all across the board.
Yeah, and just a strong performance overall. This being a game against the Bucks, where obviously a top team in the East, this was a big win for the Knicks, and I'm just proud that we were able to all get it done as a unit and be able to get it done against a team like the Bucks. So very good win for the Knicks.
Keep your eyes on this as well. This could be a potential playoff matchup with the Bucks sitting at 6 and the Knicks sitting at 3. So a possible 3 versus 6 matchup. That could have been a preview, but we'll have to find out in these next couple of weeks here. And after that, the Knicks went to take on the Portland Trail Blazers. Of course, we know in the previous game, they played each other. Mikal Bridges with the game winner in overtime.
Yep.
The Knicks once again respond. They beat the Blazers 110-93. And Mikal Bridges in this game, 28-2-7. OG Anunoby, 28-7-2. So basically similar numbers right there for them.
Yeah.
And Mikal Bridges hit another buzzer beater in this game. Not to win it, but still going into halftime, hit a shot from just beyond the half-court line at the buzzer. But nonetheless, Knicks get the win against another rebuilding team.
Yeah, it's a good win. All these wins for now are going to be good wins without Jalen Brunson. So I'm again happy for this win. I left this game. It was a 17-point win for the Knicks, but during like the third quarter, we were like down by 9, I believe, at one point. And then that whole fourth quarter, really, I think we outscored them 31-15, if I'm not mistaken. That was a big fourth quarter for the Knicks. Haven't seen a fourth quarter like that from the Knicks. So very happy to see that. And then overall in the second half, Knicks shot 27 for 42. Only missing 15 shots in a half. That's a great shooting performance. And then, again, OG Anunoby, like I said, has been the MVP since Jalen Brunson has been out. And from this game and the couple games before that, he was averaging 30.5 points a game. So, obviously, a huge step up. If you're having OG Anunoby as a 30-point scorer, and then he's going to be your primary defensive player for whoever is going to be the best player offensively for the other team, unbelievable stuff we're seeing right now from OG Anunoby.
And I'm sure every team in the NBA wishes I had that guy.
Exactly.
You know, that's the vibe we're getting here with him.
Like, we didn't see much of this last year, I don't think. Like, I don't remember, like, OG Anunoby putting up these consistent scoring numbers and then being able to do it on the defensive end. We saw the defensive end numerous amount of times last year, but now he's putting up 30 points a game. So I'm honestly very excited with OG Anunoby's play right now.
And that, I think, is because he was playing in the shadow of Jalen Brunson.
Exactly.
That was the thing. Of course, with Julius Randle being out, he did have to step up, but getting hurt down the stretch. And he's been able to stay a little bit healthier this year, I think, especially when his team has really needed him most. This has really been the big time for him to step up.
Yeah, no, health-wise, we for sure struggled with OG Anunoby. And, I mean, you talk about the injury that he's had in the Pacers series, or I believe it was in the Pacers series, yeah. He doesn't go down in that series, we win that series for sure. I believe he went down game 2, and then game 3 and game 4, Indiana takes it at their home. If we have OG Anunoby for those games, we're at least taking one of them, and then we continue to win. That's a 4-1 series in my eyes. So, not to be complacent or anything, but OG Anunoby for sure is probably is one of the most valuable pieces. I would go as far as saying the second most valuable piece on this New York team behind Jalen Brunson, of course. So, again, OG Anunoby has been the MVP.
Yeah, you can make the argument for that for whatever the case may be, and I think he's definitely been able to contribute this year, and he's been the guy who does a little bit of everything, and the Knicks have needed that for a long time now, and they finally got that guy. So having that scrappy player has been really a big help for sure, and that kind of carries over into the next game where it's against a team that really has not stepped up to what they were capable of this year. And they just set down Tyrese Maxey for the rest of the year, of course, that being the 76ers. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid out for the year. Paul George hurt the entire year. Jared McCain, the rookie they drafted, has been out the entire season. So there goes your star power right away.
Exactly.
And you're not going to win any games that way. So the Knicks handle the 76ers 128-113 to start off the month of April. OG Anunoby with another spectacular performance. Mitchell Robinson with 14 and 14, making a double-double. No Towns in this game. No McBride, no Brunson, and no Cameron Payne in this game. But the big surprise, Landry Shamet with 20 points in this game.
6 for 11 from the 3. I mean, I think he went on a stretch where he was just taking it from the corner and fadeaway threes from the corner and absolutely switching them. So that was great to see. Landry Shamet was one of the pieces that we wanted to add because he offers that three-point shooting, but he can also offer some of that wing defense, which we need and when Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby isn't on the floor. So this game was really good to see from Landry Shamet. You kind of glanced over the Mitchell Robinson stat in my eyes. I don't think he's had a double-double at all this year. And obviously without Cat, he was going to have a pretty big night, but a double-double for the Block Nest Monster. It was very exciting to see. Overall, I know this isn't the 76ers team we're used to, but a gentleman's sweep against a rival in the East, I could take that any day of the week. So again, great win here by the Knicks.
The Knicks find a way to beat the process every single time in all 4 matchups this year. Spectacular work against the 76ers. Their season is pretty much out the window.
Yeah.
And that's it for them. But I honestly want to touch on them real quick just because of what this season was supposed to be for them. On paper, they had probably the best big 3 in the NBA with an MVP caliber center in Joel Embiid, who was basically playing on one foot in the playoffs last year. You had Tyrese Maxey, who's developed into a star point guard, and you bring in Jared McCain, a rookie, to add to that with his versatility, and they all just got hurt, and it just fell apart.
It's unfortunate, and as much as I hate the 76ers, you would have wanted to see, those duels between Cat and Joel Embiid. I feel like those would have fed families. And this could have, a lot of people were saying this could have been a playoff matchup before the year started. So unfortunately, we're not going to see another playoff matchup. I don't think I wanted to see another playoff matchup with the Sixers. But again, I think with the 76ers, what they do in the offseason is going to be very important because, you have those questions about Joel Embiid. He just went through arthroscopic surgery on his knee. So he's hoping to try to be back by the beginning of next year. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, they're going to try to get healthy for the start of next year. So is Jared McCain. Another piece I want to touch up on is Quentin Kobe Bryant Grimes. I don't think they're going to be able to bring him back, however. I've been doing some research with their finances and like how much money they have in cap. I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign him. So we're going to most likely see Quentin Grimes walk, which is a good thing because imagine Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Joel Embiid, and then Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes possibly off the bench, and then not to mention Kelly Oubre, who also has been balling out for them. So that would have been honestly pretty scary. But again, the 76ers to me are going to be one of the premier teams to look out for in the offseason just because of all the other stuff that they could do this offseason.
Yeah, and they're going to probably have a high draft pick as well with their record
I didn't even
this
mention
year.
The draft pick. The only thing about that is the top 6 protected. So if they fall out of the top 6, that pick actually goes to the Thunder, which is even more scary. But again, you're hoping for a top 6 and, of course, the top 1 to draft a potential player like Cooper Flag. So, again, we're going to see how the 76ers rebuild after this season.
And I definitely wanted to touch on this Quentin Grimes thing as well because on our WQSU sports show last night, the one thing that was brought up was a potential team that Quentin Grimes could go to. And the Milwaukee Bucks was one of them because I was saying this too. Imagine this lineup: Damian Lillard, Quentin Grimes, Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Brook Lopez.
I want to say that Quentin Grimes' season isn't a fluke. But I do believe it could be. He's probably not going to put up these same numbers next year. That being said, Quentin Grimes absolutely has been going off, and I want to see him continue to succeed. Obviously, a former New York Knick, so I have support for those guys. But again, Quentin Grimes, it's just all about, where he fits, right? For the Bucks, to me, I don't mind it. It's just that I feel like if he goes there, he wouldn't be able to put up the same numbers as he is before, or as he is right now. So I think it's just all about seeing where is a good fit. I like kind of the Memphis Grizzlies, another potential scorer for him, or for Ja Morant, and Desmond Bain. So just teams like that. I don't mind the Bucks though. So that's a very interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, and that's definitely a topic for another day as well, and a nice surprising thing with where Quentin Grimes could go. And of course, the reason he has to leave is because Paul George is on that hefty contract for 4 years, so they can't really move him, and they're going to have to let Grimes walk because of that. But in the meantime, they head to Cleveland after that against the 76ers, but now against the Cavs. The one thing the Knicks have still had to prove this year we've talked about is beating the top 3 teams in the NBA, which are the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
So in the first half of this game, the Knicks have things going. Anunoby was having a good game, and Karl-Anthony Towns was the other piece that really was able to get things going. But besides that, no one was really able to step up. The Cavs bounced back in the second half. Donovan Mitchell has himself a game. Darius Garland has himself a game. The Cavs do what they've been doing all season long with over 60 wins in the regular season. And once again, I still don't think they're for real in the playoffs when we get there. But
the Cavs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But still, the Cavs take care of business, and the Knicks once again can't prove that they can't beat the top 3 teams in the NBA.
I mean, this was kind of expected. Let's be real. We weren't going to beat these guys. And even when we were up 15 in the mid-second quarter, I texted Ryan, who we obviously had on the podcast a couple episodes ago. I texted him, I'm like, hey, maybe this could be something. And then he kind of put me back in reality check. Like, the Cavs are a second half team. They're going to always come back. And they did. They even came back in that second quarter where they went on, I believe, a 10-2 run to end the quarter. And they cut down the lead from 15 to, I believe, 5. Again, the Cavs second half team, the Knicks can't beat a top 3 team to save their life. Also a back-to-back game, which we have talked about numerous times on this podcast. So it was just a recipe due for just an explosion. Again, you talked about Kat and OG having their solid numbers, but other than that, Mikal Bridges, he only had 8 points going 3 for 6 shooting. Josh Hart had 19 points off of 8 for 9 shooting. That's not going to get it done against a top team like the Cavs. You need to be able to shoot well against the Cavs. There's nothing else to expect here. And it's just the fact that we got to play 2 more teams in the top 3 of the NBA again to close out the year, it's not going to be enjoyable. I'm not looking forward to it at all. So, again, it was just another disappointing loss by the Knicks.
And that's something we're going to have to touch on as well with the Boston Celtics coming up, the Phoenix Suns coming up, the young, gritty Detroit Pistons coming up on the schedule as well. We're going to talk about them next week in our regular season closer. But coming up after the break, we're going to preview you for 3 of the final 6 games of the regular season, as the regular season does conclude at the end of next week after our regular season closer episode next week. But for now, we'll be right back right after the break here on Season 3, Episode 15 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this. It's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball. It's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again. This is Season 3, Episode number 15 of Empire State Hoops. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias, once again joining us here. And in the first half of the episode, we recapped a lot of the past few games. It's been up and down closing parts of the regular season, but there is some high hope that we did talk about at the beginning of the episode, with Jalen Brunson potentially coming back on Sunday against the Phoenix Suns, as he has been cleared to fully practice.
Yep.
But we'll get to that when we get to the Phoenix Suns, but we'll start things off with Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks, you mentioned, we were actually talking about this before the recording. You were saying the game they had previously against the Dallas Mavericks, where they had a very high-scoring game and they fell short.
That was the Bucks game, I
the
believe.
Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks game, they recently put up 145 on the Bucks, but then the Mavs game, they lost 120-118.
Gotcha.
But sorry, continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, of course, Trae Young, I feel like he's been a guy who's been completely under the radar this year, just kind of slept on. That wasn't even an all-star selection this year. And previous matchup for the Knicks beat them 149-148 in overtime. That was a really good game as well back in February. Mm-hmm. So it's against the Hawks. What do they got to do?
They gotta just play New York Knicks basketball. OG Anunoby has to come up huge again, I think. You mentioned Trae Young. We talked about with the All-Star and stuff. He was honestly the only person I wouldn't have been mad to had Jalen Brunson not got starting East point guard in the All-Star game. Trae Young has been on a huge tear. I've been advocating that Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year. Trae Young actually leads that category right now in like clutch points, and I believe he's the front runner right now. But Trae Young, he has had a quiet year, and I think it has to do with the overall success that the Hawks have been having. They're right now going to be 8th in the East at a 36-40 record. So obviously not that good of a team, but again, I think this is just an important game that the Knicks need to win, and it could be a game with it being a rivalry, of course, that can hopefully build momentum for these next couple of games, because as you said, we do have a hard schedule coming up. So obviously hoping for a win, and we just need our guys to play New York Knicks basketball against the Hawks.
And the other thing, too, I wanted to mention with the Clutch Player of the Year thing, we were talking about this on the sports show as well last night. And one of the big things that was mentioned, of course, with the Clutch Player of the Year is that you have to play a certain amount of games to be eligible for the award. So Brunson's been out for several games. I believe it's 60 is the requirement for it. And if he plays Sunday against Phoenix, he'd have to play the rest of the way to be qualified for it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know what, how much games he's been playing. So that's actually good, valuable stuff to know. But
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson has absolutely been the most clutch player in my eyes. I haven't seen anybody hit more clutch shots in clutch time than Jalen Brunson. He's come up time and time again in the clutch for the Knicks. So obviously, I think he's gonna be my vote getter, and that's not even biased. Like he deserves that award to me. But again, he would need to play. You said Sunday against the Suns, and then close out the season. So obviously, he needs to do that in order to get that award. But this is back to the Hawks and Knicks. It's going to be a very exciting game for me, just because it's again a rivalry team for the Knicks. So I'm just excited for this one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and that takes us, of course, into Sunday against the Phoenix Suns. This will be another back-to-back, which we've talked about a lot on this podcast. So it'll be against the Phoenix Suns, of course. Kevin Durant. I mean, he's the one guy. He's been playing really well this year, but I think the problem with this Suns team, no chemistry, and it feels like a locker room filled with a bunch of random guys outside of Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's not really much chemistry there with head coach Mike Budenholzer. And I feel like it was kind of a weird scenario for him coming into that situation because he beat them in the finals when he was coaching the Bucks. So it's kind of a weird scenario right there, I think. But this Suns team, they're not going to have Kevin Durant next year. He's going to be gone. He's going to be going on a different team next year. It's going to be a trade, and the Suns are not going to be a contending team after this season, I think. So it just comes down to really what they're gonna do for next season. But getting to the point where they played against the Knicks this year, the last time they played them, which was only once, was November 20th. Knicks beat them 138-122. So is it going to be different? Is the question. Could it be different with Brunson's return? This game does have a lot of potential.
It's firstly, I don't believe Kevin Durant's going to play. He went down with a recent ankle sprain. So he might not suit up for this game. Jalen Brunson, where he's expected, or he's eyeing a possible return, but he's not expected to return to this game. So we could be missing out on 2 stars for this matchup. But with what you mentioned about the Suns, to me, I personally hate what the Suns have done since losing that championship. Really since losing against that series against Luka and the Mavs in that second round series, where they got blown out in that Game 7. But overall, like, I really thought with that championship team, or that team that went to the finals, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, all those guys, I thought that could have been a very good recipe and just to continue moving forward, but they immediately jumped ship once they lost to Luka and the Mavs. So I didn't like what they've done with the Kevin Durant stuff, and now you're seeing him wanting to leave again and go to another team. I don't know if you've seen this as well. At the trade deadline this year, there was interest between both parties for a possible Kevin Durant New York Knicks trade. I don't know how you feel about that. Me personally, okay, yeah, we're on the same page.
No
I do not
way.
like that at all. I've been seeing mock drafts all over my feed ever since that report broke, and I've been seeing, us moving OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson and a couple picks for him. Obviously a horrible trade. I just don't want Kevin Durant to do anything with the Knicks right now. He chose what he wanted to do with the Knicks back in 2020, so just stay on that side, Kevin. We don't need you. But back to this matchup, I mean, it's going to be definitely interesting. The Suns, of course, have been stinking it up the past couple of games. They've had some horrible losses, including, I believe, that's 39 points to the Rockets. So I want to say this is a gimme game for the Knicks, but we don't know really what we're entering, if we're entering with Jalen Brunson or not, or who we're entering with like our entire point guard rotation. So it's just going to be interesting to see what we line up against the Suns on Sunday.
Yeah, I think just in general, when you look at the Suns franchise, it's been a circle that keeps on circling. Like you have the contending team, you get to the finals, you lose to Michael Jordan with Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson. Then you move on, you rebuild for years, and then eventually, I don't know, maybe 10 years later, you get Steve Nash, he wins 2 MVPs, and you get Amari Stoudemire, you don't get to the finals. And after that, Nash walks away, he retires, it's another rebuild. Then you get Devin Booker, and you're playing terrible for several years. And then you get Chris Paul, you go to the finals, you lose a championship, and then it gets back to this, and you can't win anything.
It's a very horrid cycle, and I feel bad for Devin Booker. Devin Booker is honestly one of my favorite players in the NBA. he recently, this year, became the all-time leading scorer for the Suns. So you're pretty much wasting Devin Booker's prime right now with only one finals appearance under your belt and a lack of success in the playoffs. That being said, I want to see the Suns move from Kevin Durant this year and possibly build for the future and just build around Devin Booker entirely, because Devin Booker is the Suns' future. I liked the move before, I didn't like the move before with Kevin Durant, and I thought it was bad because they were going to try to build around Kevin. But obviously now he wants to leave, which he's been doing all his career. So it's gonna be another interesting dynamic, like with the 76ers, to see what the Suns do this offseason for sure.
Yeah, definitely an interesting conversation, and we'll see what happens with the Phoenix Suns in their future. Hopefully it looks bright. Hopefully there's things that are able to work out well with it, but we'll see what happens with that. And then we're going to close out the episode again with another team that has really just... I mean, we know how it goes with the Boston Celtics. I mean, Knicks are 0-8 against top 3 teams in the NBA this year. Previous matchup, February 23rd, the Celtics beat the Knicks 118-105. Jason Tatum played out of his mind in this game, and the Celtics do what they do. They won the title last year, as we've said thousands of times before, and they keep showing why they can win a championship again and for years and years to come, and why they were able to build so well around Jason Tatum. And this Celtics team has done so many spectacular things, and the problem is nobody can stop them outside of the Cavs, really.
They really are. To me, I think they're my pick right now. As NBA champions to go back-to-back, I think you mentioned it before, maybe the Cavs are not ready just yet, which is kind of crazy to say with how dominant they have been this season. But right now, I do see the Boston Celtics as the biggest threat, just because, they had that experience from last year winning the chip, and it was a really easy chip for them to win. They won it in every series, I believe, in either 5 or 6 games. So, again, just very strong showing. In terms of this matchup for the Knicks, I mean, we can kind of expect what's going to happen. Of course, we're going to be hoping for the opposite, but I mean, the one thing that I want to point out with this game, it's not coming off a back-to-back, so there's hope that, well rested, well prepared for the Celtics, hopefully can lead to a win. That being said, who knows what can happen into this game, where it's most likely going to be another Knicks loss, and we're going to chalk it up to 0-9 now against top 3 teams this season. But obviously, hoping for the best, hoping for the worst, expecting the worst, for the Cavs, for the Knicks against this matchup.
And let's also remember, they got the Detroit Pistons right after this as well, so it's really going to be... It's going to be really tough for them, of course, and I believe they still have the Cavs one more time as well, I think.
Yeah, they do.
So there you go. It could end up being 0-10 against top 3 teams in the NBA, which is absolutely insane.
Yep, and I mean, when you enter the playoffs 0-10 against top 3 teams, and it's going to be a guarantee that you're going to see one of the Cavs or the Celtics if you go far enough into the playoffs. You're obviously going to remember that. I'm going to remember that if we match up against the Celtics in the second round. So it's just all about, I think we got to finish strong this season. Obviously, it's going to be hard with some of our injuries right now. Obviously, our point guard rotation is absolutely cooked. But, hoping for Jalen Brunson back on Sunday and hopefully for the rest of the year. If the biggest thing right now for the Knicks is just getting healthy and getting those wins that we need to win, I'm fine with dropping the Celtics game, but the Hawks and the Suns, those should be games that we should win. So just winning those games and getting healthy is going to be the name of the game for the Knicks until the end of the regular season.
So 6 games left. We're hoping for the best. We'll see what they can do and just try our best to pull out the games that we got to pull out. And if we lose some, it is what it is, but we pretty much got that 3rd seed locked up, so we're going to hope for the best and see what happens down the stretch for the New York Knicks. It's going to be a back-to-back weekend of Knicks games, so make sure to tune into all of that as well. And once again, this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, once again, from here on Empire State Hoops, I'm Adam Rothschild. Alongside me has been Marquise Frias. And we'll see you next week for our regular season closer to get you ready for the play-in tournament and the NBA playoffs. We'll see you next week.